We departed the Spanish Virgin Island of Culebra for a quick 25-mile passage to Charlotte Amalie in the U.S. Virgin Island of St. Thomas. We arrived in the anchorage and quickly settled into the cruise ship port and fun shops that dotted the shoreline. As we anchored, we also had 3 boats nearby that we befriended on the way down, with Taku, Island Spirit, and Tiger all anchoring nearby. It was good to catch up with them and their plans. A primary reason for the stop was to connect with Tom and Sue Schweitzer from Pewaukee Lake, Wisconsin. In addition to racing scows against Tom when I lived on Pewaukee, we also shared a love of the Caribbean with Tom and Sue as they would charter extensively in the Virgin Islands. Tom and Sue bought their dream retirement home on St. Thomas, and after lunch they took us to their place, which was stunning. Their view was amazing, overlooking the British Virgin Islands of Tortola and the surrounding islands. It was a great day reconnecting with them and enjoying their hospitality. A few days later, we departed for the British Virgin Island of Joost van Dyke, another very short trip that put us in Great Harbor just after lunch. We pretty much powered all the way to Joost as there was quite a few course changes to make. In addition, as we approached Joost, the wind died as local rain clouds affected our wind. The British Virgin Islands require you to take moorings instead of anchoring. However, even though we arrived shortly after lunch, all the mooring balls were taken, so we set our anchor. The BVI's is Charter Boat Central, and this harbor was no exception, with charter boats anchoring way too close for us for comfort, not to mention the typical anchoring issues they encounter. While we planned on hanging out in the BVI's for a couple of days, shortly after we checked into the country, we received a weather report that indicated very mild conditions that would provide a comfortable passage to the French and Dutch island of St. Martin. Given this pending weather window and the crowded nature of the charter fleet, we decided to head out the next day for St. Martin. At noon, we hoisted anchor to begin our passage. We crossed the Sir Francis Drake Channel and made our way out to the open ocean. Leaving at noon would have us arriving in St. Martin in the early morning hours before sunrise.
Leaving the BVI's, babe.
We're out of here.
After checking into the Dutch side of St. Martin, we quickly settled into the shoreside activities in town. We were not used to this level of activity, but it was fun to walk the streets and see everything this town had to offer. St. Martin was very developed and has everything a boater is looking for, so we spent our time checking out the local chandeliers, shopping districts, and waterfront watering holes. The St. Martin Yacht Club was a great place to hang and watch the super yachts pass through the bridge into the lagoon. In 2017, St. Martin was devastated by a direct hit from Hurricane Irma, a Category 5 hurricane when it ripped through St. Martin. The Dutch side is well on its way to recovery, but remnants of the devastation can be seen by the sunken hulls in Simpson Bay Lagoon. It's hard to imagine the devastation this hurricane caused. While in St. Martin, it was fun to take our dinghy and go past the super yachts that docked in the lagoon. One was larger than the next in this display of wealth. We even saw the yacht of the late Steve Jobs, founder of Apple. Venus is over 250 feet long and is a very unique design. Sadly, the yacht was launched a year after Jobs' passing. We then decided to take a dinghy ride through the Simpson Bay Lagoon and explore the French side of the island and the town of Margaux. While the Dutch side was pretty well cleaned up from Hurricane Irma, the French side was seriously lacking in the same attention, with sunken boats littering the lagoon and buildings still in rough shape from the devastation. However, we did enjoy visiting the French side as the boutiques and bistros were open for business, and it was fun to walk through and get familiar with the French Caribbean. We especially liked the French bakeries with their baguettes and pastries, which we tested numerous times. In theory, we were now safely through the thorny path. However, the trade winds had a different idea, and the wind began to blow out of the southeast, again directly in our path. We were first off to St. Kitts, where we anchored for the night, and then the volcanic island of Montserrat as our next stop.
Montserrat, baby.
Bumpy ride.
We had a welcome, restful night at anchor, and the next morning we were again up early on our way to the French island of Guadeloupe. As we sailed down the shoreline, the strong smell of sulfur wafted across the boat as we neared the volcano on the south end of the island. This island is beautiful, and we will return at some point in the future to explore it properly, but right now we're focused on heading south.